Hello and welcome to News Review from BBC Learning English. I'm Tom and joining me today is Catherine. Hi Catherine.
Hello Tom, hello everybody. Today we're looking at a recovery in the Chinese economy.
And don't forget, if you want to test yourself on the vocabulary that you learned today, we have a quiz at www.bbclearningenglish.com. Now, let's hear more about today's news story from a BBC World News Bulletin.
China's economy continues to grow at rates unimaginable in other COVID-hit countries. Industrial output came in above expectations, but retail sales were slower than predicted. Domestic tourists, though, probably helped the recovery continue by spending their money at home because restrictions mean they can't yet go abroad.
Yes, so a lot of countries have experienced economic downturns due to the coronavirus, but China says its economy is recovering. Now, this is partly due to the travel restrictions, which mean that Chinese people are choosing to holiday in China instead of going abroad.
And we've got 3 words and phrases that you can use to talk about today's story.
Yes, we have bounce back, accelerates and rebound.
Bounce back, accelerate and rebound. Catherine, can you give us today's first headline, please?
Yes, we're starting here in the UK with BBC News. The headline, China's economy continues to bounce back from virus slump.
Bounce back, return to a high level. What can you tell us about bounce back, Catherine?
Oh, I can tell you lots about bounce back, Tom. Starting with, it's a phrasal verb. It's made of 2 words. The first word is bounce, B-O-U-N-C-E, and the second word is back, B-A-C-K. Now, bounce is a verb of movement and it's often associated with balls. So, do you like ball games, Tom?
I do like a game of tennis from time to time, yes. Why?
Well, think about your tennis ball, Tom. What happens if you get your tennis ball and you throw it against the ground or a wall?
So if I get my tennis ball and I throw it against the wall, it will bounce and it will come back to me. So you're right, it will bounce back.
It'll bounce back with a lot of energy as well. It's not like a small movement, a bounce, is it? It's really kind of quite powerful.
It is, yes. But what does this have to do with economic recovery?
Aha, good question. Well, if you think about that recovery, that the ball comes back as with lots of energy, when an economic bounce back means that the economy has struggled, it has fallen, it's slowed down, but it turns around and begins to recover. It has more energy, it grows again. And that's the sense of this economic bounce back, which we can also use it as a noun phrase, is in China, the economy is growing stronger. It was weak, it was struggling, but now it's strong and powerful.
So we can use it to kind of indicate a comeback. Now, I'm thinking of a famous British politician who made a comeback recently.
Well, Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, came back or bounced back from coronavirus. He was really quite ill with it and now he's back to health. So that's a bounce back. You can bounce back from anything bad, a breakup, a bad job situation, an illness, lots of things. When you get better and you feel better, you've bounced back.
To bounce back, a very useful word. Thank you, Catherine. Okay, bounce back was a phrasal verb, and we've got plenty more about phrasal verbs as well, don't we, Catherine?
Most definitely. And if you want to see some videos, just click the link down below there.
Click the link.
Click the link.
Okay, fantastic. Catherine, let's have a look at your second headline, please.
Yes, we're still in the UK with The Independent this time. China's economy accelerates as virus recovery gains strength.
Accelerates, goes faster. What can you tell us about accelerates, Catherine?
I can tell you that accelerates is a verb. It's spelt like this, A-C-C-E-L-E-R A-T-E-S, the S because the subject is China's economy in this case. Yes. Now, for pronunciation, we've got a 4-syllable word here. Accelerates. And the stress, Tom, is where?
Accelerates. So it's accelerates. Often with 4-syllable words, we can find the stress on the second syllable.
Second syllable it is. Now, accelerates describes speed. It describes increasing speed. If something accelerates, it goes faster and faster. Now, if you're driving, you use a pedal with your foot to make your car or bike go faster, and that pedal is called what, Tom?
That is the accelerator. That's the name of the pedal, and we can say it gives us increased acceleration.
Good noun, acceleration. Now, what has this got to do with the Chinese economy? Well, accelerate is to do with speed, but it can be not just physical speed in a vehicle, moving vehicle. It's to do with growth in this case. The growth is getting faster and faster and faster. So the economy's growth is getting faster, it's accelerating. Things are not always, it's not always about upward movement. A decline or a decrease can also accelerate. If something's going down faster and faster, it's still accelerating.
So it describes the speed at which something moves. We can use it to describe a car or a quickening trend like the growth in China. Are there any other words we could use with accelerate?
Yes, now we can often use adjectives and adverbs depending on whether it's a verb or a noun. So you can talk about things quickly accelerating. You can talk about them accelerating steadily, for example. A very, very common word to use is rapidly. Something accelerates rapidly, or you can talk about a rapid acceleration, and that means a very fast acceleration.
It sounds very dramatic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you rapidly accelerate from something. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Catherine. And we have more videos about driving as well, don't we?
We do. In fact, driving without a driver. To watch a video all about driverless cars, just click the link.
Fantastic. And let's have a look at our next headline, please.
Yes, we're in the Middle East for this one. It's Al Jazeera and the headline, China's economic rebound accelerates as consumers open wallets.
And we can see that word accelerate again. So, rebound, recovery. What can you tell us about rebound?
Yes, now R-E-B-O-U-N-D, rebound, begins with that little prefix or prefix re, R-E. Now, re means what, Tom?
It means to happen again, doesn't it?
Exactly. The key part of the prefix is again. Bound and rebound, I should say, is very similar to a comeback or a bounce back. If something's gone away and then it comes back, it's rebounded. Something got bad, it got better. We talk about a rebound. So the Chinese economy was bad, now it's better, it's rebounded.
So I heard you use rebound as a verb as well, is that right?
Yes, it is. It's a verb as well as a noun. The pronunciation is slightly different though. So when this word is a noun, the stress is on the first syllable like this.
Rebound.
And when it's a verb, we stress the second syllable like this.
Rebound, as in the Chinese economy has rebounded.
Good example.
So my favourite use of the noun rebound is as part of a fixed expression to talk about relationships. Can you tell us more, please, Catherine?
Oh, yes, this is a good one. Now, Tom, imagine that you were deeply in love with somebody and then they broke up with you.
That sounds awful.
Awful, awful, awful.
Terrible.
But somebody else came along quite quickly, after about 2 weeks, and you fell in love with them and you started dating them, and all your friends were a little bit worried about it.
It sounds like a bit of a rush, actually. It doesn't sound like a very good idea.
Because you're not ready for the relationship. You went into it on the rebound.
on the rebound. So I kind of bounced off my last relationship straight into a new one
Yeah.
that perhaps isn't perfect or appropriate.
Because you're not ready for it, yes. So don't go into relationships on the rebound, Tom.
Give yourself a break in between.
You should.
Great. Catherine, can you please recap today's vocabulary for us?
Sure, we had bounce back, return to a high level, accelerates, goes faster, and rebound, recovery.
And don't forget, you can test yourself as well at www.bbclearningenglish.com. And as well as the website, we are all over social media. That's it from us today. So I will see you next time. Say goodbye, Catherine.
Bye!
Bye, everyone. Thank you.